Well, what is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to a Therapeutic Edge. How's everybody doing today? I have something original on the table. See what I did there? This is the Kizer Original. Is it? Anyway, I don't know. It's not the world's most exciting knife, but it is really well made. It is a button lock. It is 154 cm blade steel. It's got a really lovely deep carry pocket clip on it. The action is fantastic. It's just tiny. Yeah, it's small. But that's okay if you're looking for a relatively light and small knife, but you want something a little, bigger than the bug out. Bigger. A little smaller than the bug out, but a little more substantial in hand. It's a great choice. Now, I have big hands. I do. And so the original here, of course, disappears in my palm. You can see it's a 3.5 finger knife, but because of this lovely neutral scale shape, it doesn't create a problem. And I really feel like this thing is locked in. The blade on the original is beautiful. Kizer does a great job, and this is no less excellent. Their 154 cm has been, in my experience, very good. It's got, basically it's got, bug out style thumb studs on it. It's got, the clip, again, I really want to mention, it's got a lovely clip. Now, it's not lefty or righty compatible, which is a bit of a bummer. But the clip is sunk into the aluminum scales and it just disappears. It's got flush mounted screws, got a couple of simple barrel spacers, and of course this fantastic button lock. These are really good. And they're really, let me try that again. And they are reasonably well priced. I mean, coming in at 84 bucks, 84 and change. Okay, so $85. Yeah, I mean, it's not insignificant, but 154 cm is really good steel. The aluminum, this is the gunmetal version, by the way. The button lock is done exceptionally well. This is a great little knife. Now, it's interesting. I think it actually could have been littler. What do I mean by that? Well, it is, where'd that bug out go? It is pretty thick. I mean, that does help you with a nice positive grip when you're holding onto it. But they could have made these aluminum scales just a little thinner, I think. But hey, that's okay. It is a beautiful little knife, to be sure, but it is little. I mean, the whole thing is, what are we talking about? 6 3/4 inches overall, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 3/4 inches. You get 2 3/4 inches of cutting on just 3 inches of 154 cm blade steel. The grip area is from behind here. Now, when I hold it, I actually come up on this mound a little bit, but that's okay. We're looking at 3 1/16, which is why I fall off the back. Closed profile. We're coming in at 3 7/8. And the pocket profile is fantastic. I mean, it's just an inch, right? I've had a few of the Kizer button locks now. The chili pepper is the one that I've kept. I don't have it handy, but they really have mastered the button lock. I mean, it's just really good. It's a little heavy for its size, but I think that's the aluminum scales. Let's take a look. Oops. Yeah, 2.6 ounces. Not bad for a knife this size. When I say we're talking about 2 3/4 inches of cutting, so yeah, I mean, it's right about that ounce per inch. I guess I'm surprised because it does feel small, and yet got a little schmutz on there from being in the pocket. But it's still not too bad. It's heavier than I thought, but not as heavy as it could be. Let's do some size comparisons just while we're talking about it. Go ahead and line that up there. As I mentioned, as I showed you earlier, it is smaller than a bug out. It is a little smaller than the Para 3, although you do get more cutting surface. And 154 cm is comparable really with the standard S30V. This one's, of course, CTS 204P, so this one's going to cut a little better than the original here. But you get, interestingly enough, without the choil, just a hair more grip on the Para 3. We're going to do tiny knives. Here it is against the Baby Banter. I don't know, it's a weirdly sized knife. I really don't have anything else that's right sort of in this ballpark. So it's an interesting size. It's a well-made knife, got a great action, very slicey. Does come down to a very nice edge. The grind is, as you can see from the shine, nice and even, but then again, Kizer generally does a good job. You know, it's weird. Well, hang on a sec. You know, I wrestle with Kizer these days because, quite frankly, when I think of Kizer, I think of stuff like this. This is the GPB1. This is 2017, 2018. This is how Kizer sort of cut their teeth. See what I did there in the knife industry. Big, monstrous slices of S35VN and titanium. And so I still wrestle with the modern Kizer sort of mentality, but there is no denying that they do a spectacular job. This is just another example of the good they can do, and it is very, very good, even though it is very small. I will say that because of the lovely deep carry clip and because of the reasonably lightweight and because of a lot of reasons, this is a fantastic carry. If you aren't into sort of big, beefy, sort of beast mode knives, you like something a little more low key, the original here is probably a good choice for you. I know that Women Carry Knives has enjoyed having this around quite a bit. It's right up her alley. And yet, because of the neutral handle shape, it's not unpleasant for me, even with my big old mitts. And that's saying something. It is. They've done a really good job at making a very small knife. So I've mentioned that in the last year or so, my taste in knives hasn't changed, but it has expanded. Now, a couple of years ago, I was a much bigger person. And because of that, I really, really steered away from smaller knives. But as things have gotten a little leaner, I've been able to appreciate smaller things like this. And then I ended up working in environments where carrying this just wasn't going to work, much to my own sadness. And so having smaller, easier to carry tools around has been, there's a little bit of something on there. That's what happens when things are in your pocket. Has been important. And so the original here has definitely stepped into the new reality of my knife needs. It's been very good. I think you'd like it quite a bit. I know that I do. Now, we already weighed it, but let's take a look at the blade stock because I am curious. It is a relatively thin slice. Where do we come in here? We are at 110 thousandths of an inch, which is 2.81 millimeters. Like I said, reasonably thin slice, almost a perfectly high flat grind. It's got a little tiny flat up here at the top on this drop point blade, which, by the way, is very pretty. So it does come down to a nice and slicey edge. 154 cm will hold an edge for you for as long as you want it to. It's not as good as CPM 20CV or even CPM 154, but it is, considering it's an older steel, still very good. I mentioned it's a little thick in the handle. Yeah, not quite a half inch, but because it is reasonably thick this way and neutral this way, it's kind of a square. I have anything that is similar to, well, yeah, the Baby Banter. Similar, right? Sort of thick, but squared off, makes for good and positive grip. For $84, right now they are in fact $84 on Amazon. I don't think you can go wrong. I mean, it's less than 4 inches long, less than an inch deep in the pocket. It's got no flipper tab, so it's not going to chew up stuff that's in your pocket. One thing to be aware of is because it's aluminum, if you carry this with other sharp EDC things in your pocket, like keys, you will scratch up and mar the surface. This one's got a little scratch on it already. But that's the way it goes. That's where things like G10 and micarta are a little better, because they don't show wear in the same way that aluminum will. But for those of you that have had any number of the available like Protex or Microtex that come in small form like this, you'll know aluminum is a cool material, but it does show marks fairly easily. So just something to be aware of. This one's managed to hold up pretty well, but not perfectly. That's just what's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it there. This is the Kizer Original, one of their new sort of budget friendlier knives. I know $85 is not insignificant, but compared to what you'd pay for a ProTech, for instance, even in the same size, it is very budget friendly. And quite frankly, Kizer has just been slaying it with their overall design and their quality. So, if you think this knife is for you, and if this little look has helped you out, you should probably pick one up. I'll put a link in the description to the Amazon availability. I, of course, I get nothing back from Amazon, but they've been good to me in the sense that I order a lot of my knife stuff from them, and you'll get it in a couple of days if you've got Prime, which doesn't hurt. And that's where we're going to go ahead and leave it. This is the Kizer Original. Not sure how original it is overall. I mean, it's a very basic design, and yet still very good. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Kizer Original. I know it's been fun to have it around, and I know Women Carry Knives has loved this thing. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about the original here or any of my knives, feel free to ask down in the comments. Please hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up on your way out. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.